do Google Classroom. But if you need some extra help in technology, if you have a larger digital gap, I can work with you in Google Classroom to kind of fill that gap. So again, this is going to be separate than the classes, the courses, the digital literacy stuff that I'm teaching right now. And this will be done on your own time, on your own pace. And I can help you with those courses, but I can assign you those courses and you can do them through Google Classroom. So at the end of this fireside chat, I will ask you just to kind of either connect with me. You can drop your name in the chat, but I want to get connected with you so that we can fill some of those digital gaps for you. Sound good? And I'm hosting tonight. I'm your subject matter expert. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. So the first thing that you're going to learn is that when you use Google Meet to share, it is a blind share. So when you hear that, it means that I cannot see any of you guys. So digital literacy skills number 1. We are going to go over the essential digital skills and online safety. We are teaching, or I am teaching 4 digital literacy classes. I personally am teaching 3. And then the 4th one is going to be taught by one of our friends at Channel 12 News. So he'll come in for the 4th one. Please stop me at any time if you have any questions. So here's our agenda. We're going to go over Google Meet, Google Calendar, Google Drive, Google Docs, and online safety. Some of this might be a refresher for all of you. Some of you might learn something a little bit new, and that something a little bit new will just kind of help your day go by a little bit easy. So it all starts with Google Apps. So you can choose on your home screen that you see every day on your phone or on your computer or laptop what you want your home screen to be. So you might get like annoying messages sometimes that say, do you want Google to be your home screen? Do you want Yahoo to be your home screen? I don't think Yahoo's even one anymore. It might be Safari to be your home screen. Google is the most popular. I use Google. I think everybody in our team uses Google. But with that, you'll always have this apps button that's going to be in the right-hand corner. And you probably, if you have Google as your home screen, have seen that apps button, and you probably have never touched it and didn't know what it was. So what that does is when you click on it, it opens up everything that Google has to offer when you make an account with Google. So that includes Google Meet, which is what we use. That includes your Google Drive, which Jason and I were just talking about, cloud data, Google Calendar, YouTube, because Google owns YouTube, Google Maps, Google Translate. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of them. Google Play, news, all the stuff. You can see everything. So when you click that apps button, it will pop up and you'll see everything. So right now we're going to just go over Google Meet. So for the sake of the Go program, we ask you to do Google Meets. So if somebody, Emma Adams, if you can pop Google Meet, the HTTP. So if somebody does not have a Google account, they can easily get to it.
Yes, I can go ahead and do that right now.
Thanks. So if you do not have a Google account, not to worry, you can just go to the website and also do Google Meet. So to create a new Google Meet, you click on New Meeting. You're going to have 3 options: create a meeting for later, start an instant meeting, or schedule in Google Calendar. Now, for the sake of the Go program, we want you to use create a meeting for later option. It will pop open a window like this. You will use the copy icon, and then you will place that link when you're doing your sessions. I want to make sure, because we're now a month into the program, everybody who is a mentee that's on this call right now is comfortable with grabbing a Google Meet link and putting it into the sessions space in Mentor Cloud. Does anybody have any questions on how to do that? I can't see anybody. No? So why this is important, since COVID, we've all become more of a virtual meeting space. So you can easily jump on a Google Meet, a Zoom, Teams, and talk with somebody, meet with somebody, have an interview with somebody. If you are not able to use a video conferencing system, you're behind the 8 ball. So everybody at this point should be able to use a video conferencing system. Does everybody feel comfortable using video conferencing system? Just give me a thumbs up, something. I know this might be a little boring, but it's very necessary. Yes, thumbs up. Thank you. Perfect. I'm seeing it. Did you see that explosion that it did? So now we're going to go into Google storage. So when you create a Google account, you get all those apps that I told you about. It all comes with Google. So the evolution of storage was physical storage, like a suitcase. Then there was computer storage. So if you're older like me, you had to put things like in the 90s when I wrote a paper, I would have to literally put a disk into a computer and it would save on that disk. Does anybody remember that? Jason, you have to remember this. Is Jason still on the call? Is anybody as old as I am on the call?
You're dating us.
I didn't even have computers until my senior year. So I know how to
Are we
do
talking
this.
about floppy disks? Is that what you're talking about, floppy disks?
What?
Like floppy disks?
Yeah, floppy disks.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Oregon Trail, the games that we used to play in
I love
computer
that game.
class.
I believe I'm older than you guys because I didn't have computers until, what, 85, 86?
Oh, really? Oh, so you didn't even you just got Oregon Trail. You had like the old school computers where you were typing.
I never had Oregon Trail. I graduated from high school in 1980.
Yeah. You just had Oregon Trail. That was such an odd game. Okay. So I'm glad that everybody's still with me though. So then we went to the external storage drive, which would have been like a black box that you had next to your computer, or you would have like the little drives that you would put in. That's the little drive. Now we all use cloud storage. So Jason, since you're doing all this stuff right now with your phones, how can you easily explain cloud storage?
I can't. That's what I'm so. If I can't see it and I can't grab it and I can't touch it, I don't understand. But
Okay.
I know it's there.
And plus, he's on Apple too, because iPhone is Apple, so it's different from Google.
Yeah.
Right, but they're all connected.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to try to easily explain this to you. So when you create an email with Google, you get all of the apps that we just talked about, right? So you get cloud storage with that. Now, if you have a phone and you sign in your email account, and it's Google, now Apple is connected to your Google account. So now they're all connected. Apple's just the device. Apple then got into storage devices and all of that stuff. But the cloud storage is basically up in the sky, but not really. They are keeping it for you so that you don't have to carry around the external devices that we used to carry around. So when you use certain identifiers, which is like an email, it says, oh, I remember who Karen Walker is. All of this information goes along with Karen Walker. So if you get a new phone and you start signing in, I use Google Photos for storage as well. If you don't use that, I highly suggest it. It's really cheap. So all my photos will go back onto my phone. And through Google Storage on Photos. James has a question. James, go first.
I just wanted to let you know I have to get back to work, but I logged in just to get as much as I could in.
James, I appreciate you. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Yep.
You have a good night at work.
You as well.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Did anybody else have a question?
No, I was just going to say James had a question.
Okay. So that's basically how cloud storage works. It's not really up in the sky. Google owns it. But that's how it gets connected. It will never, ever be lost, by the way. You will always be able to find it because of the identifier that you use with your cloud storage. So back in the day when we did use disk storage or external drives, things would get lost all the time. Now that we've moved to cloud storage, things don't get lost like that anymore.
See, but I feel it's completely different. Like I don't know where I've saved anything. Like I got all these images for my business and I don't know where the hell I saved them. I know they're somewhere. I'll find them.
So one of the things that just updated about storage is that you can look by the description that's in the picture. So Jason, if you're looking for Windows, you can search in the search bar Windows and it will pop up all your photos that have Windows in them.
Gotcha. I'm going to just actually also ask the dude to just resend the files and then save them somewhere where I can remember where they're at. That would help.
Yeah.
Or just always get to them from my email.
Yep. You always have a unique identifier. Where it gets kind of messy is if you have multiple emails, everything like that. You use multiple cloud drives. That's why I always just stick with Google for everything. But just stick with one thing and you'll be okay. So speaking of, the Google Drive is right here. So when you're using any Google products, your drive that's in the cloud, all of your information is going to be stored there. Another reason why I always use Google is that it's very secure. We hear about data breaches all the time, things like that. You can always research what you feel most comfortable with. We are going to go into security a little bit later. But the Google Drive, the way that they secure it, I don't know all the nuts and bolts about it, but it is very, very safe. I've never had a data breach from it. I've never heard of a data breach with Google, but it is very safe. So things that are stored in your Google Drive and other things that you can use with Google that come around or that come along when you create a Google account is Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Forms. You'll recall that we used to have to buy, like at Best Buy, and download onto our computer, like Microsoft. And it came with Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel and all the different programs. So all of these are very similar and they're free. So I would say 60% of the market, if you do have kids, your kids won't even know what Word is they only use Google Docs. It's pretty much going out of style to use Word, Excel, anything like that. They all use Google now. And so I would suggest that you start, while you're on this mentorship journey, exploring Google Docs, seeing what they're about. If you would like to join a Google Classroom, I can assign you some homework just so you can get familiar with it. But it comes along with your Google when you create an account. So they're free. They automatically save to your drive. And you can easily share them with a person or a community because they're all shared by a link. So no more of this like attaching a file to your email and it sends. It's all now link shared. I'm going to pause. Any questions? Does everybody use Google Docs? You can just speak up.
No.
Okay. So as small business owners and entrepreneurs, this is really important for all of you to learn, is how to use the Google Docs suite.
So I'm going to make a comment. This is Mark Martell.
Yeah.
With Entrepreneurs. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm going to respectfully disagree with your statement about Google becoming the program for business.
Okay.
I've been around a lot longer than you have.
Okay.
So I'm kind of a dinosaur. But yeah, Microsoft products, Word products, as I've seen it through my entrepreneurial career, I think more in business, I see more people using that. When we get into arts and other areas, then I see Google and the Apple products being used.
Yeah.
I find for me, and it's a matter of what you're used to, I guess, too. For me, using Microsoft is I've done it for so many years. The task, the Word, everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy for me to use. And by the way, I'm just going to give you my opinion, Karen. I think Zoom is easier to use than Google.
Give it to me.
Well, I think Zoom.
You're causing all this controversy in the chat, Mark. I love it.
Well, I think Zoom is much easier to use than Google Chat. So, but anyway, that's what I'm used to, and
yeah,
my 2 cents worth.
I think I like your. I had a column when I was in high school, and my column was called 2 cents worth. So it's interesting that you've closed with that. I agree with you that the Microsoft products probably still have a big piece of the market share. It's that they're just not being taught anymore. So they're sunsetting them out. So if you talk to anybody who recently graduated from high school or might be in high school or graduated within the last 10 years, I'm going to say, they were not taught any Microsoft products. They were taught Google products.
And okay.
So because of that, it's changing the shape of the market of the workforce, because they're not going to retrain people and employees on how to use Microsoft.
I get it.
Yeah.
My poor mentees, though, have to deal with me.
That's perfectly okay. The more that they know, the better.
Yeah,
If we can all learn a little bit more, that's great.
Anyway.
Mark, I appreciate you challenging me, though. Anytime.
Well, I'm not challenging you. I'm just giving you a secondary opinion.
I like that.
I don't see it may be in high school. I don't see Google products taking over the entrepreneurial world for people, let's say 30 and above. I just, but maybe they will. So,
Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, this is Jim. Oops.
Yeah, Jim, you know what? We have two women that are waiting to talk. Can I have you go next? Amanda, I think, is next.
Hey, real quick too, Jim, could you mute your mic when you're not talking, if you don't mind, just because there's so much background noise and it was kind of hard to actually hear the conversation that was going on. If you would, please.
Oh, thanks, Jason. Amanda, do you have something to share with us?
Yes, I just wanted to, I guess, agree with him. I had put it in the chat, but I
Oh,
had used Google. I switched over for a job and I used all the Google everything, and I had to switch back to Microsoft because
okay.
not only to me am I more used to it and it seems easier, but they're coming out with a whole bunch of really cool AI stuff, I guess, for a lot of it. So I mean, they might not be in style or whatever right now, but they're coming back.
I like hearing this point. See, you're teaching me things. What, do you use Microsoft Teams as well?
Yeah, well, for some things, yes, I use Teams, and as a matter of fact, me and my mentor, we've done Zoom chat every time because we've tried the Google Meets, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work. So we've had to do Zoom.
Lori, like that feedback. Okay, Lori, what about you?
I prefer the Microsoft, and the reason why I prefer it is because I have a computer background, so mainframes. So a lot of the large companies are still using Microsoft products, and I relate Microsoft products to be more like IBM, you know, like the standard for mainframe, and they are actually kind of easy to use. And yeah, because I can't figure out Google Meet sometimes, and I have a problem with Zoom too, you know. So I just learned how to use the Google Meets. But yeah, I didn't like Zoom. We use Zoom at work, but we use Microsoft Teams too, which I really like.
It is. Yeah. Jason, I like your analogy of old math versus new math. So I've worked in tech for, oh my gosh, I don't know, 15, 20 years. So I used to use Microsoft. And then it switched. The companies that I worked for became like younger and younger companies, and they switched to Google Docs. The last company that I worked for was all Microsoft products, except for when it came to any doc sharing. So it was all Google Docs, except for we used a Microsoft CRM and we used Microsoft Teams. So, Jason. So, you just don't ever know, but I think that the point of this conversation that I love is that the more versatile you are, the better, especially as an entrepreneur and a business owner. You want to be able to switch it up. And one of the reasons is that the market is kind of always changing. Business is always changing. And you kind of need to know and be open to something new. Maybe something works better. Maybe something doesn't work better, and that's okay. Lori, did you want to say something else?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'll put it down.
Oh, okay. That's okay. And I love the feedback that you gave us about Google. So thank you so much. So we'll have a little discussion about that. So now we're going to just move on to protect yourself from online scams. So please jump in because we've all seen this. So what do scammers want? They want money and they want your personal information. So what is something that you should always keep safe is what was your first car? What was your elementary school named? What was your first pet's name? What was your mother's maiden name? So you probably have seen these questions when you're like filling out new information online. So you're always going to want to keep those not written down anywhere, not in a notes app or anything like that, so that it doesn't go into cloud storage. You're going to keep those just in your mind. Now we're going to go over examples of spam messages. So as you become a small business owner and entrepreneur, you are going to receive possibly more spam messages. And as you get employees, you want to make sure that you are also preparing them for these spam messages so that it doesn't affect your company. So while you're just gifted $1.5 million, we all know that this is a scam. But one thing that you always want to look at is the URL. So the email that it came with, I actually just taught my daughter this this weekend, is the email name might look, might look legitimate, but the actual email itself is what you need to look at because it'll be like some complete random email. And you really need to examine the emails carefully because they have now gotten so good at them that they look like it's a legitimate business, something that you need to take action on, and it's not. It's completely fake. Sometimes they will have attachments. When you open up those attachments, it can do lots of wacky stuff to your computer. So just make sure that you might be really up to date on all these things, but as you get employees and your business grows, they might not be. So as you can see here, here's another example. I think we've all gotten this one. Has everybody received this one? I received it like 25 times. When Netflix got rid of like you couldn't share passwords anymore, this one was insanely popular. I actually had to text my mom not to fall for it because she always falls for these. So they also send you not just email, but they send you text messages. So you really need to be careful about not clicking when you think something is real. Amazon ones, you get those all the time too. I'm like, if somebody stole my Amazon password, something like that, go check your email because you would have gotten a message from Amazon saying, thank you for your order. So always use logic. Don't react, respond. So always take a second. Like, does this seem real? Always pause. So how to protect yourself. Make passwords difficult to guess. Keep your passwords private. Do not share them. I'm going to add, do not make your passwords all the same. Oh, it's the next one, duh. So use your passwords different. This goes for not only your digital passwords, but your passwords for outside things too. So your passwords for bank, don't make them the same as what will be online, because if they crack one password, they will get into everything. So use a password manager. Google came out with a password manager. I'm going to say they rolled one out like a year ago and then they upgraded it in the last 3 months. It's a little annoying. You might see it. It pops up all the time and says, do you want Google to remember this? So as you change your password too, it will say that. But use that. It's not a scam. That's legit. So you can, Emma Adams, if you'll copy that and put that into the chat. So that's how you start to use Google Password Manager. You can use it on your phone and on your computer. There's a bunch of other password managers out there. I've used a bunch at previous employers. I would say Google Password Manager is probably my favorite. But you know, it's up to you. Always use two-step verification. You'll see if you use any social media devices, Facebook, Instagram, they're all going to two-step verification because of so many data breaches, but always use them.
Hey, real quick too, this is Derek. With the password manager, with the Google version of it, it is pretty simple for anybody that is not familiar with it. You literally can just type in password manager, and the taskbar up top, type that in, and it'll take you to it. And it'll be linked with whatever email account you are using as your main username. It's super simple.
Yep.
Duo is
And
a good app too if you guys want like secondary or like a second layer protection for your passwords. And it also is linked up with a lot of different other apps and other, I don't know, institutions.
yeah, thanks, Derek. So what to do if you are attacked? So protect your banking and credit information. So contact all your banks, credit card companies, and any other financial institutions that you have. I'm going to add on here, I've had my Social Security card stolen. Contact the Social Security office as well. Check your credit report and any loans that you don't recognize. Dispute any fraudulent charges. Consider placing a fraud alert on any of your accounts. You can do it on your bank as well, and freezing any of your credit cards. Change your passwords. Is there a question?
Yes, Lori has a question.
Yeah, Lori.
Hi, I just had somebody hack into my email address and everything, and so I put a fraud alert on Experian, and it crossed all three boards. And so when I went to open up a checking account a couple of days ago, they had to call, and I had to answer some questions. They would not open my account, so they won't. Once that fraud alert goes on, they have to call you to verify that it's you and get the information that only you know.
Yeah, that's great information to know. So thank you for sharing that. Did they ask you some of those questions that I had at the beginning, like where did you go to elementary school?
Yes, and like nothing like my mother's maiden name, but like the last digits of my Social Security number, places that I had lived.
Yep.
Yeah.
They'll always ask you things like that. And to be honest with you, I don't remember some of the places that I've lived in my life. Like I've had that happen to me too. And I was like, oh gosh, I got really nervous because I don't remember some of the places that I've lived. But yeah, that's really good information to share. Thank you so much, Lori. And I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, it just adds on maybe another 5 minutes plus the time that it takes to be on hold, to get that department. But
yeah,
I was really impressed. That was the first time I tried to use it since I put that fraud alert.
Well, good job doing that. So I recommend Credit Karma. It's free. You just type in Credit Karma. I think there's an app. I've been a part of Credit Karma for like 2 years. But they just kind of help monitor your credit. They send you emails and texts and everything, like, I don't know, once a month, just to kind of monitor everything. So I recommend Credit Karma. There's other things that you can do as well, but that's what I've used. But just monitor your credit and kind of what's going on, because you never know. You never know what can happen, and you don't want all of a sudden credit that you've worked hard for to get ruined because somebody hacked your account. Report fraud and scams, and I'll send this out. You can do it to those 2 places. And that is it, my friends. So does anybody have any questions, reactions, or any shares?
Well, Karen, I just wanted to thank you for such a lovely presentation.
Yes.
Very helpful.
We do have another fireside chat coming up November 1st at 3:30. It's managing cash flow and budgeting. And that is your financial literacy number 2. And that is going to be with Jim. So we will see you all then. If you would like to have some additional resources from me, if you'd like to do Google Classroom with me, you can just stay on the call and I will get your name down and we can fill those. Yeah, Amanda, Do you want to ask it now or do you want to ask me after everybody jumps off? Okay. Thanks, Jason. But if you want to do Google Classroom with me and kind of make up some of those digital gaps, I'm happy to do that. But otherwise, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. My mentor and I was talking about it, and she suggested I ask before, and that makes sense. Anyways, I've seen a lot of the services and stuff, like, you know, the business expenses, website and advertising and all that stuff that you suggested to do to everybody, or for everybody to do. Anyways, my job and my business is doing that. So I was wondering if I could put like in the chat or something offering my services for that, or is that not allowed?
No, you can totally, you can, there's a community page inside of Mentor Cloud. So you can post it there is the first option. The second option is that you can write up a little blurb about what you're offering, kind of what you're starting basically your small business, which is social media marketing, it sounds like. Did I get that right?
Well, somewhat, yeah, that pretty much everything, being a virtual assistant, and I could do everything from build websites to advertise, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, wow. So I would write down what your offerings are, send it over to us, and then we can post it. We do a newsletter monthly, and we can probably put it into that newsletter.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm in the process of doing a complete overhaul to my website. So I probably just wait till that's done and then send you that with a link.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we would love to. We always want to promote our mentees and their small businesses and what they're doing. And I'm sure that we can, you know, there's more offerings that we can give you as well. But yeah, definitely do your website first. And then if you want, I'm holding, so when we do the digital literacy, you probably know a lot of this already with Channel 12. So a lot of that's going to be on social media, SEO, stuff like that. So you might really like it. And then as I go up further along too, I'm going to be talking more about that stuff. This one was just the basics.